Don't you just hate the quote, great for returning players, but also great for newcomers? It's kind of a weird into the void quote, but it's also kind of true for The Evil Within 2. It has throwbacks for fans, but it's also got a completely different tone which alienates returning players. It puts Evil Within 2 in a weird place, but as a fan of the original game, I've grown to love it. So Evil Within 2 is the return of Sebastian. While he looks like Seb, he doesn't sound like him, he doesn't act like him. He has a new voice this time around, and at first I wasn't really a fan. I've actually grown to prefer this version of Seb. The new tone blends well with the new tone of the game, takes himself less seriously, just like Evil Within 2 does compared to Evil Within 1. Gameplay is also different this time around. While the main core of the gameplay is the same, shooting monsters, managing ammo, the stealth executions, the same stuff you did in Evil Within 1, this time they've dropped the linear level design of 1 for a more open world approach. Now, I wouldn't call it open world personally, it's more of an open zone. You're not going to find a GTA sized map or anything, but areas are big enough to make you want to explore for upgrades and even side missions that lead to one of the scariest encounters of all time. The skill tree this time is far superior too. Better selection of skills, like a skill called Bottle Break. It allows the use of a bottle as long as you have one to break enemy grabs. You've got things like increased crouch movement. There's even a skill that lets you multiply damage of every bullet as long as you don't miss your shots. The arsenal of weapons this time around are more modern, less single shot rifles and more fully automatic weapons. Matches have been replaced with a head stomp, and while it was good chaining a triple kill with a single match drop in the original, I'd be lying if I said that the head stomp wasn't satisfying. Enemies this time ditch the barbed wire look for a more hot melted candle wax look, if that's what you want to call it. And while I respect the uniqueness of the look, it doesn't really mean much for the gameplay, as enemies attack the same way as part 1. Bosses are once again awesome, and while design wise definitely not as strong or memorable as part 1, they're just as fun to fight, and you'll be coming across a lot of boss encounters in this game. Enemies this time don't carry machine guns either, which I never understood with part 1. Something that just doesn't work with horror games is giving enemies machine guns. There's a lot of horror games out there that draw the line with crossbows and whatnot, but in Evil Within 1, just like Resident Evil 5 before it, the enemies had machine guns, and it was just a part of the game that we tolerated but nobody truly liked. The story makes a lot more sense, but comes with its own set of issues with its writing that I won't spoil here, because obviously I want you to go play this for yourself, but you're not going to be as confused from the story as you were with part 1. By the time you finished Evil Within 1, nothing truly made any sense. Stuff will make sense this time around, but it will also come with its own questions of like, why exactly is that in the writing? Overall, Evil Within 2 has better animations across the board, superior, more fair combat encounters, less jank, feels like it had some quality control before release. While I sort of hated the shift in tone from the original, I've actually started to like the game more each time I revisit it. If you haven't played Evil Within 2, let this video be a sign to do that. Even if you dislike the first, don't let that stop you from experiencing the greatness that is The Evil Within 2. Okay, people, let me know if you've played The Evil Within 2, if you plan on playing it, how it all makes you feel. But that's all I got. I'll catch you later.